How do you feel when you think back on experiences earlier in your career?
I feel let's start again. When I first started out in the industry 30 years ago, things were happening that I thought were normal because I didn't see anything else. And now that I look back on it, it was quite abnormal. It was not right the way I and other women were treated.
Because of the time, there were things that were accepted that we certainly would not accept today. If you brought things up they would even care. They would ask you, well, what alternative is there? You can work someplace else. You can do something else. This is the price of being here.
You know, I will tell you, I had a thick skin. You had to develop a thick skin, certainly then.
When I went to university, it was about 7 years after Title IX came into place. Title IX, most people in the United States think it related to girls' ability to play sports, so equal access to sports. But indeed, what Title IX was really about was equal access to education. Before then, which was 1972, specific programs at universities could refuse to allow girls to study. Girls could be summarily dismissed from engineering, science degrees, and the reasoning given was girls were only going to university to get a husband.
When I was in college, my freshman year, the advisor, Dr. H, I won't say his name, at the university, he said, find a husband quickly and then you can transfer to an easy degree plan or just quit. It was pretty disheartening. That was in the very early 80s when that was said to me, and I was surprised that they would try to shoo people out of that program.
I was the only female engineer in my graduating class. And at that time, there were, you know, I think there's a lot more engineers coming out now than there were then. But it was quite uncommon, you know, and I think when people asked me, well, what do you major in? And I told them chemical engineer, they were shocked.
Meeting standby, go ahead.
Maybe going Mark Softsticks.
So my name is Megan Welch, and I'm a product development scientist.
Senior olefins maintenance engineer.
Unit engineer.
Process engineer.
Process technology engineer.
The culture here, when I came to my interviews and the people, it was just really resonated with me.
Like in my interview, when I told them I was going for my master's in business administration, they were very supportive of that. I was the first person they interviewed, so it wasn't even sure that I was gonna get hired, and they made sure to let me know, hey, if you're going to school, we can support that. I thought that was amazing.
I know that when I saw women at the career fair who were doing jobs that I wanted to do, it was like a light bulb went off. And then once I started my internship here, it was like day 2, and I was like, sign me up. How do I come back full time? This is where I need to be.
Whenever I went to work in the industry, the type of work I got, pushing the wheelbarrow type work, you know, that was what they thought I could do, and they didn't want to put me at risk, is what I was always told, you know, until they got comfortable with, you know, the capability that I had, either physically or mentally or both.
So it was a little bit more difficult, I think, to get my first job. I worked for a small laboratory company, and I had a very specialized tool set. And I started to find that my tools were missing. And I asked this man, have you seen my tools? And he would say, no, but somebody from another lab needed this tool, so I lent it to them. So he was lending out my tools. But he could never remember to whom he had lent them. It was just a very passive-aggressive way of saying, you shouldn't be here.
So I can remember very vividly working behind the panels in the control room, and we had a set of really flip charts that had thermocouple information on them. So you would be looking up a particular temperature in the unit, and it was not uncommon. You would flip through that and you would see pictures of women. You would see, things that really shouldn't be in the workplace. It was not uncommon at all.
My name is Anupriya Gupta. I'm currently a process engineer in the olefin side, so the C4 side of the olefins business. I think it's really important to hear what women before me have done and kind of see the battles that they've had to fight or not had to fight that I may not have to because they've fought them on my behalf.
They show me that we are tough, and if they can do it, we can do it.
It's definitely important to learn from these women that are in senior leadership roles within INEOS and to keep it going. I've women that are in the STEM field are opening up pathways for more women to join in.
One of the things that, when I think back, that really strikes me is working in the technical center for a different company. And there were women scientists there. And they treated like the male technicians at this company much better than they treated the female technicians. They were much harder on the women. And at the time, I just thought it was them not being very nice. I didn't quite understand it. And I think now I understand that they had to fight so hard to get where they were that I think they were basically trying to toughen us up.
I tell stories in one of the classes I teach about one of my female colleagues pulling me to the side and telling me that, I was dressing like a girl. I needed to stop. I needed to put on the golf shirt and the khaki pants, which I never want to put on the golf shirt and the khaki pants. But I was really, blowing her paradigm on what the uniform was that we were supposed to wear so we could be invisible.
I think I've always been the kind of person that I don't shy away from any challenge, right? And I really enjoy working with people. As an engineer, I'd walk around with channel locks in my pocket and my gloves, and I'd love to go out in the field and help them work on things in the field. But if I had been less outgoing, it probably would have been a real challenge.
I think that I began to see very real progress and felt a change and experienced a change when I was asked to go to California. And I told my manager at the time, appreciate it. I've watched what a lot of our other site directors have done. I feel like that's been a really good course direction set for me, and so I'm looking forward to this opportunity. And he took me by the side and said, that's not what we're asking you to do. He said, we want you to be yourself completely instead of how the guys did it.
I've seen more recently, as I've gotten to know some of our female senior leaders, Kathy and Stacy both bring a very valuable perspective to their workplaces, and I think the people around them see that.
I feel empowered when I hear stories of women ascending into upper roles. It's honestly, it keeps me going, I think.
When you hire different people that have different experience sets, that have different backgrounds, that have different ways of looking at life, have different interests, you now have a bigger diversity of problem solving. And that's where the power lies.
I think when you work at any business that's focused on a bottom line, right? That's going to be the focus of most conversations. If everyone's looking at a problem from the same lens, from the same angle, from the same perspective, then how are we ever going to continue to move forward? How are we going to continue to be trailblazers in our industry?
One of the guys that works in the maintenance department gave that to me. It's funny. Yeah. I'm very optimistic about where we're going, not only as a company, but as a culture. I think we've created the environment for people to be much more comfortable in whatever skin they're in.
And we have people of many different races and men, women, non-binary people in different roles in our company today. I think the problem is there's a shortage.
I see more of an equal footing than I've ever seen before. I don't hear about some of the issues that we used to hear. I don't think everything's solved, but I think that we've really come a long way.
This is the 50th anniversary of Title IX. You know, the fact that we're 50 years on and, you know, still struggling with some of those same issues, you know, I think it's important we pause and look how far we've come, but I don't think we need to lose sight of we're not done yet. So I think that's very important for us to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound, you know, the problem is you feel like you're just sounding like, you know, you're just complaining all the time. And the thing is, I've had like an amazing career, and it's not everybody, you know, yeah, you have to prove yourself, but I've had an amazing career here, and I've really enjoyed every minute of it.